One viral video just changed how millions of people see Dubai. Not a documentary, not a news report, just a few seconds of raw footage. A tourist standing in a luxury hotel room, holding a bill that didn't match what she expected. Her reaction wasn't scripted. It wasn't polished. And that's exactly why it spread. Within hours, millions had seen it. Within days, something unusual started happening. People weren't just watching, they were questioning, and some were canceling. Because for the first time, Dubai's image wasn't being controlled by influencers, brands, or billion-dollar campaigns. It was being controlled by real people with real experiences. And here's the twist. This wasn't about one bad hotel or one bad trip. This was about something deeper. A city that built its global reputation on perfection, suddenly facing a system that rewards exposure, not control. Because when a destination becomes content first and experience second, the smallest crack doesn't stay small. It spreads. So the real question isn't whether social media damaged Dubai's tourism. The real question is whether it finally exposed what the system had quietly become. Dubai didn't become a tourism giant by accident. It was engineered with precision. Every landmark, every experience, every visual angle was designed to create awe. The city wasn't selling history, it was selling spectacle. Places like the Burj Khalifa and Palm Jumeirah weren't just attractions, they were visual statements built for global attention. And when social media arrived, Dubai didn't adapt to it, it mastered it. Influencers were flown in. Luxury stays were sponsored. Entire locations were designed to look perfect on camera. The strategy was simple but powerful. If millions of people see something that looks perfect, they'll want to experience it too. And for years, it worked flawlessly. Dubai became one of the most shared destinations on Earth. But hidden inside that success was a structural flaw. The experience being sold online was carefully controlled, curated, and often staged. And when something is built on controlled perfection, it only works as long as reality stays hidden behind it. At first, the shift looked like growth. Tourism numbers climbed, bookings increased, visibility exploded across every platform. But something subtle was changing beneath the surface. Tourists were no longer exploring the city, they were replicating it. The same restaurants, the same viewpoints, the same desert setups, repeated again and again. Travel stopped being about discovery and became about documentation. People weren't asking where to go, they were asking where to get that shot. And when millions of people chase the same experience, it stops feeling unique. It starts feeling manufactured. The city didn't lose visitors, it lost unpredictability. And unpredictability is what makes travel feel real. Without it, the experience becomes predictable, repetitive, and eventually, replaceable. Then came the turning point. Not a collapse, not a crisis, but a pattern. Tourists started noticing the gap between expectation and reality. The hotel looked bigger online. The beach looked emptier. The service felt faster, less personal. And then came pricing. Hidden fees, extra charges, unexpected costs that didn't appear in the polished posts people had seen before booking. Individually, these issues weren't new, but now they were being shared instantly, publicly, repeatedly. What used to be a private complaint became global content. And social media didn't just amplify it, it rewarded it, because authenticity performs better than perfection. A real reaction spreads faster than a staged one. And suddenly, Dubai's greatest strength, its visibility, became its biggest vulnerability. The numbers behind this shift don't just show growth, they show concentration. Social media doesn't distribute attention evenly. It pushes traffic into specific hotspots. A handful of locations receive the majority of visitors, while others remain overlooked. This creates pressure points. Crowding increases. Service slows down. Prices rise due to demand spikes. Meanwhile, expectations continue rising because the online version still looks perfect. This imbalance creates frustration, not because Dubai lacks quality, but because the experience can't match the scale of expectation being created online. And when expectation grows faster than reality can deliver, disappointment becomes inevitable. The system behind this transformation is deeper than tourism. Social media platforms are designed to prioritize engagement, not accuracy. They reward visuals, familiarity, and emotional reactions. Dubai fits perfectly into that system: clean architecture, luxury aesthetics, dramatic visuals. But when a city becomes optimized for how it looks online, it starts prioritizing appearance over experience. Businesses design spaces for photos, not comfort. Restaurants focus on presentation, not depth. Even tourists change their behavior, moving quickly from one content spot to another instead of immersing themselves. The experience becomes layered, part real, part performance. And over time, that performance becomes more obvious, more noticeable, until the illusion starts to fade. The breakdown doesn't happen all at once. There's no sudden drop in tourism, no empty hotels. Instead, it appears in perception. Reviews begin to change tone. Words like overrated and not what I expected appear more often. These aren't dramatic complaints, but they signal something important: a growing gap between what people expect and what they receive. Social media sets a level of perfection that real environments cannot consistently match, especially when thousands of people arrive expecting the same experience at the same time. And once that gap becomes visible, it spreads through conversation faster than any marketing campaign can repair it. Then came the turning point. Not a big crash, not a disaster, just a pattern. Tourists started noticing differences. The hotel looked better online than in real life. The beach looked empty in photos, but crowded in reality. Service felt rushed. And then came prices, hidden charges, extra fees, things people were not told before booking. These problems were always there, but now people were sharing them online. Before, one person complained. Now, millions could see it. Social media didn't just show the problem, it made it bigger. Because real reactions spread faster than perfect ads. And slowly, Dubai's biggest strength, being famous online, started turning into its biggest weakness. The numbers show something important. Social media pushes everyone to the same places. A few popular spots get most of the tourists, while other places stay quiet. This creates crowd problems, long lines, slow service, higher prices. At the same time, people still expect everything to be perfect, like in videos. This creates frustration, not because Dubai is bad, but because expectations are too high. When too many people expect a perfect moment at the same time, it becomes impossible to deliver. And when expectations are not met, disappointment spreads quickly. The human impact is quiet but significant. Tourists feel pressure to capture their trip correctly, to match what they've seen online. They move faster, stay shorter, focus more on output than experience. Workers in the tourism sector face increased demand with less flexibility, turning service into efficiency instead of connection. Residents feel the shift as familiar places become crowded and performative. The city's rhythm changes not because of more people, but because of how those people behave. Social media doesn't just bring visitors. It changes how they interact with the environment, and that changes the environment itself. There are deeper layers driving this issue. Social media creates comparison loops, where travelers measure their experience against what they've seen online. That raises expectations beyond what any city can consistently deliver. At the same time, businesses invest more in visual appeal because it drives traffic, often at the cost of long-term experience quality. Add to that rising costs, concentrated tourism zones, and algorithm-driven visibility, and the system becomes unbalanced. Then there's economic pressure. As Dubai becomes more expensive, the value perception becomes more sensitive. Tourists start evaluating whether the experience matches the cost, and when it doesn't, dissatisfaction spreads quickly. Short-term attention begins to dominate long-term value. And once that happens, the entire tourism model starts shifting slowly, but noticeably. Globally, this pattern is not unique. Cities around the world are facing similar pressures. But Dubai's situation is more intense because its brand is built on perfection. When perfection is slightly disrupted, it becomes more visible, more discussed, more amplified. And in a connected world, perception spreads faster than reality. That's what makes social media both powerful and dangerous. It doesn't just promote, it defines. And once a narrative starts forming, it doesn't need to be completely true. It just needs to be believable. A crowded beach becomes a narrative. A disappointing experience becomes proof. And in a connected world, perception spreads faster than reality. That's what makes social media both powerful and dangerous. It doesn't just promote, it defines. The realization is uncomfortable but clear. Social media didn't destroy Dubai's tourism. It transformed it, from experience-driven to content-driven, from exclusive to replicable, from immersive to performative. The city is still functioning, still attracting visitors, still growing, but the way people experience it has changed. And that change is shaping its future in ways that are still unfolding. Because when a destination becomes famous for how it looks, it risks losing what it feels like. So here's the question that stays with you. If a city becomes a global destination because of social media, what happens when social media starts showing a different story? Does the experience lose value, or does it evolve into something new? Tell me what you think. Has social media elevated Dubai, or quietly taken something away from it? And if you want more deep investigations like this, stay with me. Because the biggest changes don't always happen in the streets, they happen in the perception.